Okay, so this is for you guys looking up the smart contracts. This is a search function similar to the GMI utility. So GMI utility was taken down a couple of years ago and it was split. It was split into the DTCC and to the GLIEF.org, which is what we are in. So listed in here are QSIP IDs, companies, and so forth that you can search who take out smart contracts. Okay. And how do you identify illegal activity? We're going to explore that in here. And I want you guys to take this information. I want you to do videos of your own, propagate it, and show the world what is happening in your community, in your state and or province, and all over the world. Because this is how we have to do this. This is what a digital army does. We educate each other and we stand up and we speak because your mind is a weapon. Your body is not, your feet and your hands are not. The ultimate weapon is your mind. To defeat corruption, you must use your mind. Okay, let's get into this. So I talked to AI at length about this. So here we go. So here's a brief rundown of it. I'll have this entire element in the description box, also including this link so you can do your own searches. So core smart contract tracking data, GLEIF and related sources, legal entity identifier, that's a LEI. It's a unique 20-character alphanumeric code example from pension plans, employers, banks, unions, and insurance funds. Entity legal name and alternative names can show shell companies or rebranded entities. Jurisdiction of formation helps track cross-border structuring. Entity legal form, pension fund, trust, nonprofit, etc. can reveal where pension assets are pooled. Managing a local operating unit. The register that issued the LEI, which is a legal entity identifier. Okay, so this takes you through the rundown of everything, through some of the history of it, and how it relates to CPP investment holdings, statements, other things, which we have to start making questions on. Because a lot of illegal activity is going on when you have a lack of oversight, zero transparency, especially in regards to entities that can engage private military contractors such as NATO, with subcontracting entities such as Lockheed Martin, Bay, Raytheon, General Dynamics, L4Harris, and or others. And don't forget, on the soil of Canada, there are no laws against using directed energy weapon systems on the citizen population. There are no laws on them at all. Okay? And there are no laws against semiconductor chipping systems. There are no laws in regards to transparency for medical research. So there's clauses in my province, likely in yours too, where if it's meant for the betterment of the public, they're going to do it anyway. Well, this isn't the United States, not yet. So Canada signed a treaty, and that treaty is the International Criminal Court, which includes crimes against humanity, non-consenting human experimentation, but they did not sign the Nagoya Agreement. So what is Nagoya? Nagoya means you have DNA, intellectual property rights over your DNA. So Canada doesn't have that. They didn't ratify it. They don't want to ratify it because they can utilize anyone's DNA in bioinformatics, patents, etc. Now that's intellectual property fraud. So we all hear that, intellectual property fraud is, utmost importance. But just imagine that a movie and or a book has more intellectual property right than you have over your own fundamental body. That's a fact. Ironically, one of the corporations or entities that was involved in the Human Genome Project was a company that the former finance minister, Bill Morneau, was engaged with within Morneau Chappelle, and that was called the Human Genome Project. However, how many people's data and intellectual property was shared with the BEAST system? What is the BEAST system? It's a Bayesian evolutionary analysis sampling trees created by a Presbyterian minister. It's a mathematical theorem in the 1700s. So what is the beast system? They're using it for genetic tracking systems. So there's beast 1 and beast 2. You can Google this stuff. I did videos on it, I guess about 5 years ago, because I found that my genetic origins were being tracked in the beast system for containing some of the most highest level of back mutations. So it was like number 1 in the beast trees because it was a rare ancient origin group that actually originates from countries that ratified and signed the Nagoya Protocol. So if entities in the United States and or Canada and or Russia, who didn't sign the Nagoya, are utilizing that intellectual property, I'm an indigenous person in another country where that country already signed the Nagoya Agreement. That could get really sticky with the courts. Because today, if right of return is recognized for persons based upon religious ideology, right of return needs to be recognized for indigenous people from their country of origin based upon their genetic factors. Since so many people are claiming colonization and people have to go home, I'm fine with going home. Just let me take my assets and leave. Um, yeah, because I earned them, I contributed, and you can do whatever you want to do and you feel is necessary in your own country as an indigenous person. So I should have equal right under the sun, moon, and stars as an indigenous person in my own land, and that means excavating or forcing people to leave who don't belong there as colonists who are draining those systems. Why not? If it works in one country and is applicable under United Nations right of indigenous persons, it should apply to me as well in my genetic country of origins. Okay, let's go and pick around a LEI. So what I like doing is I like doing a general search. So who would be around in my city? Let's do Winnipeg. Oh, no, you know what? Let's do Nygard. So we've got Nygard, as in Peter. Let me just keep going down in here. I think it was Nygard International. Nygard International. There we go. Nygard International lapsed. Let me keep looking here. Inkster. It was kind of odd because I'd found that this EQS group was issued also, and there's no, owner. So keep an eye on that EQS group, GmbH EQS, was also related to a specific group called the Winnipeg Police Department. Winnipeg Police. So this is part of their pension plan. Isn't that interesting? So there's no supervision by who? FinTrack. That's FinTrack. Financial transactions and reports analysis. So they're supposed to be the ones watching for illegal activity and or what I believe they should also be included under the umbrella of smart contracts, especially in regards to self-executing smart contracts within medical research, which violate treaties Canada ratified. Could be in torture. So let's go take a look at the Winnipeg Police Public Pension Plan. Is this interesting? No registered authority available. No alternative registration authority ID provided. It's a general pension fund. It's active and just keep going down here. It's part of the EQS Group GmbH. Same one as, Peter Nygard was registered to. Direct parent report. Let me see if I can expand some of this stuff out. No direct children, no consolidation. So I've had to pull up interpretations from this stuff from AI. So there's no fund management relationships data available for Winnipeg Police Pension Plan. So, wow, I mean, it's publicly funded. No master feeder relationships data available for Winnipeg Police Pension Plan. No umbrella structure relationships. Okay, let's go to the branch. So to me, this is going to a specific individual. Wow, look at that. Let's go look at the lapsed relationships. Maybe we can go to the history in here. Hide, 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 hide. Events and changes. So this is pretty neat. So it's renewing this year. LEI issuer. Pending approval. Pending transfer. Issued. That's registered at Donald Street. Oh, that was removed? That's interesting. So I'm not sure why this would be demonstrating within these systems. So let's ask AI. Let's ask AI. Let's go to AI. So here's the data that I copied from the LEI and populated it into AI. Here's a clear audience-ready analysis of what's notable and potentially concerning of the Winnipeg Police Pension Plan LEI record you provided. Potential issues with the Winnipeg Police Pension Plan LEI. No recognized registration authority. That means this LEI is not tied to a formal government registry entity like a corporate registry or pension regulatory database. For a public pension fund, that's unusual. It reduces independent verification of the entity's legal standing and governance. Wow! I mean, these guys are public servants. Cooperation level, entity supplied only. The LEI data is marked entity supplied only. This means the information in the LEI record is only what the pension plan itself reported, without external validation. Public trust funds ideally should have a third-party corroborated LEI to avoid errors, omissions, and international underreporting. Reporting exceptions block transparency, direct, non-consolidating, non-consolidating. These exceptions mean that the pension plan claims it is not financially consolidated with any other entity, but this also avoids disclosing any ultimate controlling party. So who actually is the owner of that pension plan? In practice, this can hide external management firms controlling assets, larger municipal or government structure influencing funding decisions, links to offshore or pooled investment vehicles, which goes to what? If anybody can do this stuff, it can relate to terrorist financing, right? Especially when it's not investigated by who? FinTrack. Okay. Removal of address and data in past updates. Historic records show the additional legal address line was once removed as in your earlier data set, then reappeared in this current record. Changes to registered data addresses can obscure audit trails. So why would they have to obscure an audit trail? What are they hiding? Research, non-consenting research, smart dust, neurodust, who knows? Directed energy weapon research programs with NATO, collaboratively working within, research grants out of different countries. Who knows? Suggesting shifting administration or custody of assets. No children relationships published. The LEI shows no direct or ultimate children, meaning no listed subsidiaries, feeder funds, or special purpose vehicles. This could mean the pension plan truly has no downstream entities. Or the relationships are simply not published, which would limit public visibility into where the funds are allocated. Oh my God! They talk about diversity, but, if you're invested in unethical things, I mean, everything should be transparent, especially when you're a public servant dealing with public funds that are contributing and purchasing your comfort later in life. Jurisdiction listing is minimal without specifying a province. See that? Manitoba base funds, we'd expect CAMB for information jurisdiction, not just location. Lack of detail can complicate legal tracing and cross-border asset searches. See that? Cross-border asset searches. What? Why this matters. Transparency risk. Entity supplied only, non-consolidating, means the only official public data comes directly from the entity itself with no verified parentage or external validation. If governance or investment mismanagement occurred, tracing accountability through LEI data would be difficult. See that? So someone can defraud this fund and they've got nothing, so they could be potentially asset stripped. Why is no one addressing these issues, right? These are the people that serve us. 99% of them don't understand what's going on. Most of the rest of us on the planet don't understand what's going on with this stuff. Who do we rely on for transparency, truth, justice, and accountability? FinTrack. See that? FinTrack. Okay. So it wanted to map out different things. It can diagram the LEI's network that show how these non-consolidating exceptions cut off visibility into possible upstream or downstream financial links. So let's ask the big question to AI. Is this possibly illegal financial transactions? Can you state that? There you go. Okay. Based on the LEI data you gave me, I can't say outright that illegal financial transactions are occurring. Oops. Oh gosh. But, oh gosh, I'm just all mucked up here now. Here we go. But I can say that the structure creates conditions where they could happen without easy detection, which is exactly why LEI oversight exists. Here's how you can phrase it for your audience without overstepping into unprovable legal claim. Potential for undetected questionable financial activity. The Winnipeg Police Pension Plan LEI record is blah. And this is the same registration number, meaning no recognized government registration authority, marked entity supplied only, meaning blah blah, shield by non-consolidating, meaning no disclosed parent entity or consolidation trail. These three factors remove normal transparency safeguards that help detect money laundering, off-book transfers, or improper asset movement. While this does not prove wrongdoing, it does create an opacity gap in public financial records, the possibility for funds to be moved or invested in ways that evade public or regulatory scrutiny, a reduced ability for auditors, regulators, or citizens to track asset custody and investment flows. See, you just can't make this stuff up. So I looked up Nygard International. Who's Nygard International? Let's go to Peter Nygard. Who is he? He's a vampire. He's in prison for being a predator. See that? There we go. So he's in prison for being a predator. Sexual predator, Peter Nygard, sentenced to 11 years. So he'll probably die in prison. Okay, let's go back over here. Here's what I found regarding the LEI legal identifier for Nygard International Partnership. Nygard International details. Nygard International Partnership District from Nygard International Limited was a retail clothing company. So it's still active. But get this. Jurisdiction of formation headquarters, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Okay. Parent disclosure not provided, reporting exceptions for both direct ultimate parents. Initial registration 2017, last update 2024. Think about that. So yeah, that's who Mr. Nygard is, the predator. So here we've got Nygard International file for Chapter 15 bankruptcy March 18, 2020. Okay, see that? Shortly after he was charged on sex trafficking. But look at this, okay? Look at this. Issued, status, EQS group. And who is it? Oh, that's police. And go back over here because I'd done the query on it. So we'll go to Nygard International. Oh gosh. Lapsed but active. See that? Nygard International Partnership. Limited partnership. Active. See that? Active. It's the same location. It's the same location. Status lapsed. Last updated in 2024. But it's still active. And who is it? It's that EQS group GmbH, just like that. I guess this must be an issuer in Europe, likely Germany. And look at the validation data is the same as the police departments where it's not trackable. And look at this. Fund relationships. No fund management, no umbrella structure, nothing. See that? No data. So what's going on with this? So it's still active. So there's still an active partnership registered at this headquarters, but the building is owned by somebody else. What is that? Look at that. Limited partnerships, OPTR. So who is their partners? Events and changes, DLEIs. Let's take a look at this. Nothing there. Ooh, this might be a little bit interesting. There we go. This is just all the data. Managing LEI. Let's take a look at this one and see what happens in Google. EQS Group, bonds, C bonds, tables of accounting and financial reporting. Germany, headquarters address, there we go. Legal jurisdiction, Germany, GLEIF, finds it there. EK, kind of go here. Ironically, my bank is registered to the same group. They put me through stress. Okay, so there we go. Next renewal date, 2025. So it's still active. Wow. Business registry name, Germany. Let's take a look at this Bloomberg. Come on. Germany, Germany. Active date 2000, changed name. Exporting documents. See how they don't include his name on this stuff? That it's got anything to do with Nygard? So you can't do the searches on Google. It's not pulling it up by the name, but it's searching it by the LEI. What's a C bond? Come on. Industry, other sectors, bond debt. There is no debt to the bond. Basic earnings per share, 2023, 2023. So this is already, showing that it's 3 years after in reporting after his system declared bankruptcy. Isn't that interesting? Let's do annual. Let's see what it says annually. I wonder if he's probably drawing an income off of this type of a structure. Probably. Caicos Islands, 12 LEIs in Turks and Caicos, registered islands with those guys. Oh. Look at that. BC Energy Granada. So that's all related. Wow. South China Heavy Industries. What? That's kind of interesting. Open corporates, right? Open corporates. Let's go to Nygard International. So on the other reporting, it was 2025 and going to renew in October. And this is saying it's lapsed. So it must have done some kind of moving from that other system, limited partnership. So I wonder what limited partnerships they have. Wow, look at this. I mean, how can this stuff not be investigated and not even incorporated when my bank, I'll show you my bank is registered under these LEI systems as well. Let's kind of go over here. Oh, latitude and longitude. I'm going to go and experiment with this. So some of you know that I convert GPS coordinates down to their most basic, what mirrors a IPv4. And I find relevancy. It's crazy. This just appears to be an IP address registered to JIT CNET Arizona. I'm going to play with it a little bit. Shanghai, China. Interesting. No domains, so let's try to reverse it. 97, this is typical forensic stuff. Just messing about to try to look at different aspects. Boca, China, Santo Domingo province. Dominican Republic. Is that offshore? Let's go and take a look at that. Oh, wow. Wow. Dominican Republic. Neutral internet exchange point in the Caribbean. Well, that makes sense because he has, Peter Nygard has a bio research lab in the Caribbean. I recall reading that. And he was engaged with another elected person at looking at investments. I'd read an article about that. This is kind of interesting that it ends up coming back to there. So, Banco Dominica, Dominican Republic. Interesting. Anyways, so getting back to these LEIs, just start showing people how they work. Start showing people how do they work. So, you want to look up your bank. So, I'll look up a bank. So, we'll look at this. So, that's my bank. And they also have activity, EQS group registered in Germany, and no reporting bodies, as I recalled, that oversee this. And this group was just fined by FinTrack. So we'll check that out. FinTrack. So they were fined a penalty. Following a compliance examination 2023, this credit union headquartered in Winnipeg, Manitoba was imposed an administrative penalty of $116,000. However, FinTrack isn't even investigating that they have really no known contacts and stuff in here. Isn't that something? I think that's pretty incredibly amazing. So, utilize AI as a tool. Learn, explore, ask questions. I mean, we're all trying to learn. I mean, I did freedom of information request to um, FinTrack to ask them, why they aren't investigating smart contracts. And what do you find? You've got smart contracts that are listed in here. I can tell you, I found one registered to my group, and they're all always issued by Germany as the oversight body. And again, that's another public entity tied directly to pension funds and systems. And it looks like tied directly to taking a smart contract out on me. And that's how accurate you can get some of this stuff. Hopefully you found this useful. Um, take the data, learn, populate, explore. Don't create liability for yourself by making accusations. Just read out the information and ask the questions. If you're Canadian, why is FinTrack not reviewing this stuff for illegal activity? It's in the billions of dollars every day. Even our Prime Minister's businesses are listed on here. So it's like Brookfield. I mean, it is what it is. Later.